So I'm here with.
My name is Justin Lee Cody. I'm from the Cody's First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm also from what used to be known as Poor Man's First Nation, Saskatchewan, now known as Kwaktus First Nation, Saskatchewan. I live in Edmonton, Alberta, currently. My mom's primary caregiver, and I'm homeless.
How old are you?
Me, I'm 33.
So where would you say you grew up?
Me, I grew up here, there, and everywhere. I'd say, more or less, I'd say I grew up watching my mom on the streets. You know, watching her, making sure she's okay, because there's only two people in this world that you feel loved, like that unconditional love, and that's your grandmother and your mother. And I go out at nighttime when I wasn't supposed to be out there, and I'd watch my mom work in the streets, just to make sure, she's okay, I was like 5 years old, 6 years old. I didn't care. I was out there, I joined my first gang when I was 7 years old. I was in 24 foster homes by the age of 7.
So back when you were 5, which city were you in?
Me, I was in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. Yeah.
And what do you remember, or what are your memories of Regina?
Regina, to be honest, I don't have very fond memories of Regina because it was the myrtle capital of Canada for quite some time, and I lost my closest brother, Colton Cusans. There, he was murdered. He was plotted out by his wife and her first cousin, but the guy that took the charges was one of the, how do they say it, a higher up in the gang. He was one of his lower guys, right? So he made him take the rap, and he got a manslaughter charge, killing my brother. Stabbed him in the back once, pierced his lung, pierced his heart, killed him almost instantly.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And that was the closest thing I ever had in my life to a father figure, He taught me how to be a man, taught me how to treat women with respect, to always have a job, to look good, feel good, do good. That was his motto. And then my other brother, Harvey, died in a house fire in Brandon, Manitoba, 2015. Back in 2017, my dad died of leukemia, which made me the oldest male in my family at the age of 27, I think it was. Yeah, 27. And nobody to look up to, nobody to go to and ask questions for both spiritual things, ceremonial things, nothing like that. So I ask the Creator. If I have any question in my heart, I ask the Creator. Before I go to bed, I smudge, I ask the Creator, and He gives me my answers. And at the same time, I see some of my grandfathers there too.
So after living in Regina, where did you move to?
I moved here, Edmonton.
Do you remember what it was like moving here?
At first I didn't want to move here, but there was nobody else in my family that was stepping up to be my mom's primary caregiver, and she's under doctor's orders not to lift more than a pound because she had a ruptured stomach, and she was in the hospital here for 2 years until they could surgically repair her stomach, and then in order for her to get out of the hospital, she needed to have me here with her. So she sent for me. Now I'm here. Now I look after her, and we're both homeless. You know?
Do you see your mom on a regular basis?
Yeah, I see my mom every day. Yeah.
How old were you when you moved to Edmonton?
What would that be? 28? About 5 years ago now?
So can you describe how it was like when you first moved here?
Compared to Regina, bro, it was like a walk on a beach.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like, the hood in Regina compared to the hood here in Edmonton, like, it was like a day at the beach and we were all having a party. You know?
What's it like in Regina?
Oh. You'd have to live there to know what it's like. It's rough, bro. Real rough. Like, real rough. Like I said, my own brother got killed by his best friend that he was best friends with since pre-kindergarten. All because his girlfriend, who he had 2 kids with, found out about widow's pension.
Wow.
And if she had him whacked, she'd get close to $4,000 every month for my brother's death. You know? Because my brother worked every day of his life since he was 18, right? And she got his own best friend to kill him, you know? And that's pretty much what changed my life on a grand scale of things, you know? When you have that unexpected loss like that, and you don't know, you're not taught how to grieve, you know? You're not taught how to move on properly, you know? Yeah. And with the elders that we have out there nowadays, I know for my family, I have no elders. I am my family's elder. The little ones that I have, they look up to me as an elder. And I'm 33. And I think that's crazy, you know? I remember when I was just a little kid, my elders were 70, they were 80, you know? The world's changing at a drastic pace, and, you know?
What was it like joining a gang at 7 years old? How did that come about?
It wasn't even a gang, it was more like, kind of like, we used to like fuck with gangs kind of thing, you know, and like we used to just I was the youngest one, me and Buddy's brother, we were 7. Our oldest members were 16, and there was about 24 of us. And we used to go around and we used to just fuck with the gangster shit, you know. We'd watch them, we'd watch what they're up to, and we'd take their shit, we'd fuck with them, you know. We were crazy. We were just crazy little kids. We had nothing better to do, you know, but get into mischief, you know?
Do you remember when you first tried drugs?
First tried drugs, I've always, when I was 15 years old, I got permanently adopted out by social services to my grandma's youngest sister and her husband. And from that point on, I was always offered anything I wanted right there on the table. If I wanted to drink, I could drink. If I wanted to smoke pot, I could smoke pot. If I wanted a cigarette, there's a cigarette. Anything I wanted to do, I could do it. As long as my dad said, as long as I know what you're doing, and you're doing it with me, I don't care what you're doing. Because at least I know what you're doing. And you're not doing it behind my back. And you know what? That actually kept me away from doing drugs until the weekend of my dad's funeral. The weekend of my dad's funeral, I wasn't allowed to go to my dad's funeral And he also told me not to go to his first four memorial round dances. And he said, maybe one day you'll understand why. And there was this 18-year-old girl. She wasn't even 18. She's 15 years old. And the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in all of Regina. And I was only 18 at the time. And gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous. I used to go sell her mom pills. And I thought they were for her mom, eh? But they weren't for her mom, they were for her. The 15-year-old girl. She, at 14 years old, was forced upon, and she was given HIV, full-blown AIDS. You know? And the pills that I was dropping off were actually for the young daughter, not the mother.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So her mom was at the casino, and I told her I wasn't going to sell her the pills because I didn't believe it, right? And she showed me all these track marks on her neck, on her arms and stuff, and she pretty much cried to me and begged me to give her. She phoned her mom and put her mom on the phone with me, and her mom said, yeah, go ahead, sell them to her. So I sold them to her, and instantly after she did the shot, I just seen this pain go away from her, just a million pounds lifted up off her body, and she was free, and as soon as I seen that, I was like, I want to feel like that, so I got her to give me a daily aid ready, and she jugged me, and same thing with me. Boom. Next thing you know, I'm weightless. No care in the world. I can't feel nothing, no pain, no mental pain, no emotional pain. But what pain I did wake up with was what they call rinsing pain. Her mom got home from the casino, stole all my money and all my drugs. So when I come to, I asked for it, When I come to, I had nothing, So that was my first time getting rinsed, and I deserved it. I did. And you know what? I had no right to be there doing what I was doing. But I did learn a lot that day.
What did that progress into?
Progressed into me using not every day, but every time I get so lonesome and so fed up with the world that's where I turn to, and be like my escape. And then eventually, before long, I was fully addicted, And then before long after that, I was doing things that I never ever thought I'd do in this world to get drugs, Stupid things too, Like stealing candy from a Dollarama because what drug dealer doesn't like candy, That kind of stuff,
How do you make money off it?
Right now, I pick bottles every day, me and my wife. I don't make a whole heck of a lot off of it, but I save it up for Sunday. Like right now, they have the what's it called, the Fringe Festival going on downtown. I go down there about 3 times a day. Go down there, pick bottles, and it adds up. And all around here, pick bottles. Because people just pick bottles, they'll pick a half a bag of bottles, a full bag, and then they'll just ditch them. They'll just leave them, So when I'm out walking around, I score, you know? Next thing you know, instead of going to the bottle depot with a bag of bottles, I'm going with 8 bags of bottles, you know?
How do you think people ditch it?
Because, they probably have their reasons. I'd more likely say probably violence, you know? Spur of the moment, you know? Nobody's gonna care about bottles in a violent situation in a spur of the moment. I know I wouldn't. I'd leave the bag of bottles and I'd protect my life. Yeah. And there's been beginning a lot more of this violence going on.
What are some of the craziest things you've seen in Regina and in Edmonton?
Craziest things I've seen in Regina. When I was 7 years old on Louis Van Drive and Dudney Avenue, I watched a guy get bumped by a car at that intersection, and my uncle Owen looked at me and said, "Justin, I bet you anything that guy's about to get bumped." And I said, nah. And as we're walking into the store, you hear someone slamming on their brakes, and we both look. And the guy is about 40 feet in the air, flying across the intersection. And his body landed on the other side of the intersection and slid for about 20 feet. He was alive until the ambulance got there, EMS got there. Now when the EMS got there and were transporting him to the hospital, they pronounced him dead on his way there. Me myself in Regina, I was woken up multiple times, getting chopped in the head with machetes, stomped in the chest, just like, like the stupidity, you know? Things that you didn't even do, or things you didn't even deserve, and then boom, just like that. Next thing you know, you're getting woken up, getting chopped in the face with a machete 3 times, and getting sucker punched, and all over $20 too. And the second time, it was like a horror scene. I got chopped 3 times. Once by the 2 males and once by a female, and then they made me strip down to my underwear, and then they sent me out into the middle of the streets in my underwear, and you couldn't see the color of my skin. I was bleeding head to toe, and all I could see was blood. And as soon as I hit the street, all I heard was curdling screams. Screaming. It was this. It was what? Thank you. Which? Yeah, right now, here in Edmonton, I have to say, another thing in Regina that I've seen, I was in the backyard, you know those Laura spins for when you kicked out of your house? Mm-hmm. There's a Laura spin in this backyard, and I'm thinking, it's my lucky day. There's a 60-inch TV in here that works. There's a PlayStation 4 in here that works with about 30 games, and that was when PlayStation 4 just came out, you know? There's a surround sound there. There's anything you could want for your home, you know? Just sitting there. And I thought I'd struck it lucky, you know. I thought I'm lucky, you know. And the neighbors were listening to music and having a house party. And then out of nowhere, I felt this really cold vibe come over me. Just like something telling me to go, not be there. But me being young, dumb, and stupid, I wanted to find out what it was, you know? And next thing you know, I feel something touch me on the left side of me, on my shoulder, and I look left, and all I can see is black. And I look up, look twice as tall as me, and I just heard this car coming down the alley, and then I decided to just hold on tight to the garbage bin, tried to hide myself a bit, and a Mitsubishi Lancer ended up pulling into the alley. A couple guys got out with machetes, a couple guys got out with guns. They went into the back of the house, to the side door. The music stopped, the laughing stopped, and then it started into a commotion, you know, like yelling, screaming, and then screaming, and then screaming, and then gunshot, screaming, gunshot, screaming, gunshot, screaming, gunshot. And then this guy comes jumping out of the window, like in the movies. He does a tuck and roll, and then next thing you know, he's standing right next to me. And I'm thinking, what the heck? There's a guy pointing a rifle out the window right at me and Buddy, and he's standing right next to me. And I'm like this close to getting shot, you know? So we both go running at the same time. I broke down, and I went across the alley, not knowing there was a fence in the backyard, and I had to throw my body over the fence. Same time I threw my body over the fence, a bullet hit the garage right where I was. Boom! I scrambled, I got up, I went running towards the front. I thought there wouldn't be no fence there. There's another fence there. So I throw my body again, up and over. Again, boom! Right next to me, hit the wall, the bullet. I run into the front yard, and then I look down to the left, and it's right where the train tracks goes through Regina on the north side, right by First Avenue North. And CN Rail that goes through that way, I think. And this guy looks at me, he says, "Justin, come here, bro." I was looking at myself. And I got freaked out. I went running across the street, and you know The Shining, where the kid takes a couple of footprints, goes that way in the fresh snowfall, and then backs up his footprints, and then jumps off to the side and hides. I did something like that, eh? And then I hid behind his house next to a dumpster, and these people with these guns, these knives, come running through the yard, and they went running into the alley, looking around for me, and they went running down the alleyway. From there, I snuck my way into the garage, and I stashed there for about almost half an hour, because that's how long it took for the Regina City Police to arrive on scene.
What year was this?
This was 2015, 2015.
And it took them half hour to come. Is there like a lot of crime like this? That's why it takes a long time for them.
There's not a lot of crime, there's shift change. They knew what shift change was. They're smart. They're organized. You know, you think of Canada, not so smart, not so organized crime. There's organized crime here. There's women and children that are shipping sea cans almost every day across the seas.
Of what?
What?
Sea cans of what?
Just people. You know? Into the, slave industries, into the sex trade industries. My cousin, the first time she went, she got mad at my family and she went hitchhiking out of town. She found herself on the docks out in Victoria, BC. And this trucker offered to give her a ride from outside Regina. He ended up holding her hostage all the way to Victoria. When she got there to Victoria, she was naked and bound in the back of the truck the whole time. And when she got there, she knew that she had to fight for her life, or she was going to die. And she's here. I can introduce you to her sometime if you want. She's actually in front of the Boyle Macaulay Clinic right now. And she fought for her life and she ran and she got away. The car stopped for her, helped her, and I'm not too sure what kind of company or organization is that helps you get home after a situation like that, but they bought her a bus ticket back home. But when she got back home, after all her family knew about that, she didn't want to be around her family anymore. So she moved here. And then she started working the streets when she moved here. Yeah. So I know that there's a way that things can change here. There's an equality for everybody here, you know? There's room for everybody to eat at the table, everybody to sit down, have supper, to have everything you want, everything you need. There's no need for homelessness, there's no need for starvation, there's no need for jealousy. You know, there's no need for none of that. And that's the day I want to see. I know it won't be in my generation, but in the generation to come, there's going to be a native kid that's very, very smart. And he's going to go back into those old treaties of ours that we signed. And he's going to point out those, technicalities in those treaties. He's going to show the whole world that, hey, look, this isn't supposed to be like this, you know? And I hope that's the day that the world changes, you know? Maybe we'll gain our separation from Britain, never know. But till then, I'll be sitting here in Edmonton taking care of my mother till she dies. And then after that, I don't want to die the same way. Because, you know what? My mom has lived that life for both me and her already. Now, I want to go back to work and I want to live a different life. That's all I can say.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Nice meeting you.